Okay, now we're live. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, I do.
All
Hey.
right, great. All right, good morning, everyone. We had a few little tech glitches that we had to work out, so we're a few minutes late getting this going. So I'm just going to give people a chance to pop in. It always takes a few minutes or seconds for it to go live on Facebook. And I'm actually just going to go to my Facebook group and bring it up so that I can see anybody who's there. So give me a moment to do that. And love our little tech challenges. They're always so much fun. Oh,
we,
so there's
we
live.
have
I can see it.
Alma. We have Alma. Alma is there. She just comment.
Oh, wonderful. Fantastic. Okay. So just so you know, and I do see we're live now, I have that up. So just so you know, we have the members get a backstage pass. And so they will potentially come into the studio. And then at the end of this, we'll have a little Q&A and invite them in.
Cool.
Yeah, so for those who are joining us, a couple of things. Please allow StreamYard to show your name. That way, when you leave a comment, I will see it. So just like this, there's Alma. Good morning, Alma. So you already know how to do this because you've been in on some of these. So if you don't allow StreamYard to use your name, then I won't necessarily see who it is. It will just say Facebook user. So I'm going to take that off of there. And for our members, just so you know, if you pop over to the membership private group, I did put a link in the post, and you do get a backstage pass. So you can pop in to the studio, you can watch it there, and then afterwards we're going to have Q&A with Kristiane. So I'll announce that a little later on as well. And if you're here, say hello, just so we know who's joining us this morning. Okay, well, I can't tell you how excited I am to have this lady right here with me right now doing this interview because Kristiane and I have chatted several times, and I've I've done her course, which we're going to talk about as well a little bit later. And it's just such an honor. I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. I love what you do.
Oh,
So
thank you,
welcome, Kristiane.
Marianne. Thank you, Marianne. It's a pleasure to be here. I know that it has been a long journey for us to finally come to this place. So I'm excited and happy that we finally got it done. So
Yes,
yeah.
awesome. Oh, and we see a Jenna is on. So hello,
Hello, Jenna.
Jenna. I'm gonna pop you up there to say hi. So just gonna share a few things about Kristiane that I know about her, but also that I learned even more when I was on her website. And so Kristiane is a holistic personal brand strategist, and she created the Inner Outer Brand Incubator to help fellow multi-passionate and empaths turn their passions into a holistic signature offering around their personal brand. Now I'm going to pack that just a little bit because there's a lot in there. So multi-passionates, I just wanted to pull that out because that really resonates with me. I mean, basically, well, I'm going to let you describe it. What are multi-passionates? You can probably do a better job than me explaining it.
So I think everybody knows someone who is like really really passionate about different things, right? So multi-passionate people are people who have the exact same burning passion for different things, different topics, different right? So
Yeah.
that's it. And by the way, we also call them multi-potentialite because actually the passions is not just about liking the thing; it's also about being able to do different things. That's also another thing that we
Mm.
need to know. So
Yeah, I love that. And of course, those here know that I have Shine membership program. I'm, your spiritual hostess, which is our free group. I do card readings. I do spiritual guidance coaching. So that's one element. But I also paint windows. Probably a lot of people here don't know that I do that. I make holistic homemade body products, which I use by myself and sell. Oh my gosh, what else do I do? I make jewelry. Because
oh,
multi-passionates tend to
that's
express
it.
themselves in a lot of different ways, right?
Exactly, exactly. And it's really important to know that it's not only about the passions because and I think that's one of the things that makes it even more complicated because it's not just about liking something, or is that we are also good at those things. So we like them and we are also kind of good at them. So
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So I know there's lots more multi-passionates out there for sure. And then the word empath, of course, is in there because, again, that tends to be my general audience tends to be, or my community, we tend to be very, very much empaths. And, I think everybody knows what empath is, but, we really feel very deeply and we take on the energy of others. And, that just tends to be kind of a given in the spiritual community is that's I don't know if I was going to say we attract more empaths, but I don't think that's necessarily true. It is to some degree, but I think we all have that empathic nature, but for some it's more heightened than others. Would you agree with that?
Well, so first, I think it's important to make the difference between feeling the empathy and being an empath. Because I think this is one of the most common confusion I've seen around this is that people think that feeling the empathy is necessarily being an empath. No, you can feel empathetic for something, for someone, for a situation, but without feeling empath. Being an empath is really someone who lives the thing. You know what I mean? Like you don't know the
Mm,
person, you hear the story, and you live that story like it was yours. Like it's crazy. And I think that making this little difference will help us kind of make the understand better the thing. So I think everybody can feel empathy, everybody can
yeah.
have this empathy for others, but not everybody is an empath, because an empath is something that you don't even control, right? It's something that comes to you. You don't control it. You
Yeah.
feel the pain so deep as if it was you living that situation. So
Thank you
it's a little
so
bit.
much. I so appreciate that you made that differential because a lot of people get very stuck in that and they don't recognize it. And when you don't recognize it, you're not in a position to, I was going to say control it, but I was guided to say protect yourself because it's
Yes,
not so much controlling it, it's protecting yourself.
exactly. It's
Yeah, and I do have, I have a friend that if she's in a space with a lot of people, very overwhelming, and it took her, she didn't understand what that was. And when she understood what it was, that she's taking on everybody's energy, she could do some of that protection
Mhm.
work to make sure that that doesn't happen.
That's it.
And another person who just would go through these horrendous highs and lows, but the lows are the horrendous part, and wasn't understanding it, and it was related to things going on in the world, and would just feel the energy of that and wear that, and it was debilitating. Yeah. So once you see that, then you can start to do what you need to do to protect yourself. So I appreciate that you made that distinction.
Yeah.
Thank you. So continuing with my intro, Kristiane, so you can see this is a very holistic interview. I kind of go, yeah, we just kind of go wherever the
We're just
conversation
starting,
takes us.
and we are just starting. We didn't even get, you know,
We didn't even get into
we are
there yet. We're
just
still on the intro. So she's also the host of the Inner Outer You podcast. So we will talk about that in a little bit. And she helps you build an impactful personal brand from the inside out. We're definitely going to dig into that because I just love that phrasing. She calls herself a soulful styling and personal branding friend expert. And she has a workshop, and this is where we met, called Combine Your Passions. And I took that workshop because, as we talked about, I'm a multi-passionate. I've heard myself call myself before. I kind of like that. And I just needed some clarity on how to take all of my passions and really turn them into one, which I've done. And my community's seen that because it's been evolving since I attended your workshop. Style, she says, style is just one piece, it's a tool. And she has a signature program that involves 6 stages, and style is number 5. All right, let's dig into some of this because there's so much stuff I want to get into with you. So tell us what led you to what you're currently doing.
Oh, so my personal story. So when I started being an entrepreneur, of course, I was trying to do the things, and then all the business programs that I took was, were kind of asking me to choose one passion, to pick one thing, to make a choice. And I even tried, because I started my entrepreneurial journey being a fashion entrepreneur. I had a brand. I created a brand when I was living in Brazil. I created a brand when I arrived in the US. So I was doing that thing, but beside us, I had a very, very huge passion, like burning passion for entrepreneurship, for ethical business, right? so many other things, branding, visual branding, but because styling is just one part of the visual branding. But I wanted to do all, and I was like feeling so frustrated, just having people asking me to focus on one thing. And I just decided to think like, okay, Kristiane, at some point I just stopped and I was like, if I have all these passions inside of me and I am not totally crazy, because I'm a little bit crazy, just not totally. So it means there is a purpose behind this, because I do believe that the universe, the universe is the best artist I've seen. Nothing is done without a reason. Nothing, even the single details that you have no idea. You're like, what is this doing there? There is a purpose behind that detail. So I told myself, if you are this way and you are not totally crazy, it means there is a way to make them happen, to make them work together. And I gave myself this mission to discover. For me, I didn't even plan to have a program on that. I did not. For me, the purpose was me finding a way to make them work all together, because I was not able to pick one. Every time I was trying to pick one, to focus on just one passion, as I was going into that, path, I was feeling like something was missing. Like something is missing on my picture. People were loving what I was doing, just doing fashion. But for me, even though I have these little, per article or magazines and those things, I was like empty, getting empty every time I was getting, further with just that thing. So I decided to step back and find a way to make them work all together. So what got me there is actually my own personal challenge.
I love that. And isn't that what kind of gets us all where we're going, right? It's our own personal challenge, and it's bringing that together. And I did the same thing as I was on the spiritual path, and having so much more peace and so much more joy, and moving through frustration so much more quickly. And I noticed all these things happening with me, and it's like, okay, I need to share this. Like, more people need to have some guidance on how to do this, because it makes life so much better.
And there is something that I noticed, is that the universe has a very subtle way to let you know that you have to do that thing. Is that once you find the solution of your problem, the universe will start sending people that are similar to where you were before. And you will start feeling, if you are someone who is really intuitive and also very connected to your own inner person, you will notice those signs. And for me, that's how it started. So once I uncovered my solution, I started having people around me complaining about that. And I was like, well, guys, you have been here forever. What's wrong with you? And I started feeling guilty. Because I was feeling like, oh my God, I discovered something, and I'm being selfish not to share it, right? So the universe,
Yeah.
once you uncover the things, the universe will start sending people asking you the same kind of things. You will hear someone asking you the thing or complaining about something. You hear one person, two people, three people, and so on. So we are, most of the time, we are so distracted that we don't always notice that. But if you quiet down your mind, your heart, your spirit, you will notice those signs. And that's what
Mm.
my case.
Yeah, I'm loving that you're bringing that forth, because it's so true that a lot of times we just go on autopilot and we don't recognize these things, or we just think they're a coincidence. And but when you really start to pay attention and you piece things together, you do get a very clear message or clear guidance into something that's going on in your life, or some direction that you need to take, or something that you need to do. Yeah, I love that. What are your multi passions?
Oh, so main, I'm gonna tell you the big the big things, right? So I have soul business strategy. I really really love everything that is strategically done, but I like the intention to do business in alignment with who we are, from the inside out, and
Mm.
also with the people we are meant to serve. I'm very passionate about, of course, a soulful styling, because I believe that style is a really great tool for us to communicate, right? To communicate,
Mhm.
because the things you wear say something about you. And it is a great tool that we can use to channel and communicate our energy so that we can attract the true people we need to attract, being ourselves, right? I'm very passionate about ethical marketing. So I love anything that is marketing and everything, but I like the ethics on that, like not selling just to sell. For example, selling because there is, the why you're selling this. Why are you, for example, the program, why are you sharing this program? And why are you selling this program? Understanding that, okay, I need to charge this amount of money to be aligned with my energy so that I don't create to myself an energy deficit. So being intentional about everything around your marketing process, right? I am very passionate about visual branding, which is a part of styling is part of it. But visual branding, like from your website, the way you communicate, is everything about how you express yourself, which I think should be an extension of who you are inside. So I am very passionate about when I see someone. I'm very passionate about understanding the body language of that person, understanding the energy of that person, understanding, because you can feel the energy of someone just by looking at the shape of the person. Someone who's really, really skinny and who is like, will tend to be a little bit more into the masculine energy depending on how her body is, right? Someone who's a little bit curvy will have a little bit more of the feminine energy, which is so I like to kind of have those little interpretation just watching someone, because I think the universe did such an amazing work. Like everything is well done, and there is a lot too much details on just looking at the person, right? So I'm passionate about digital marketing, right? Everything that allows you to create freedom in your life, the freedom to live your work the way you want, the freedom to work from wherever you are in the world, the freedom to define how you want to do your things. So digital entrepreneurship, actually. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I just love that description of all of that, and the passion behind it, the purpose behind it, and the focus. I had to pull those out because you can really see how you have taken everything that you are passionate about, how you did bring that into focus and are making that your purpose, which is, the title of what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Wow, I was so excited for that. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to know a little bit about your podcast. I love the name. Oh, I just want to say hi to Twyla. I think I saw her on here watching. So if you're here, Twyla,
Hey,
say hello.
Twyla.
The inner outer you, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your inspiration for that name. Now, I think you already answered that a bit in what you said, but we'll just kind of pull that piece
Exactly.
out.
It is I think that the wholeness of someone is not made just by the external part of the person. It is a mix of both. It is the internal and the external. And also, even when we work just on those external words, right? Which is in my case, when I was doing the styling, just the styling, I was working on the external part of the person. But I noticed that, even working on the external part, you still need to channel into the internal, because that's where you get the real essence of the person that you can then express to the outer world, right? So through style, to branding, whatever it is. So I believe I'm very passionate about getting the wholeness of the things. So I hate everything that is very superficial or just, I'm very passionate about the wholeness of the things. So I've always been pursuing this in everything that I do. So I believe that we achieve the wholeness of ourselves when we manage to combine those two and align the inner to the outer, or the outer to the inner. You take it the way you want, but aligning both.
I think that's so important because I do see again where people get kind of stuck on outer, so outer appearance to the world, pretending to be someone that you think you have to be, not aligning with that inner sense of who you are, and then others who are, they have a really good connection to the inner you and who they are and what's important to them, but they have difficulty presenting that to the world. Right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
So I can see that happening on both
That's
sides,
it.
definitely.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And and because the deep communication, I mean, the message you have to share in the word is a connection of those two things. Like you
Mm.
said, if you have it inside and you don't know how to put it out, there is no communication.
Yeah.
Simply, if you have it outside and something that is totally different to who you are inside, you will communicate, but there will be a disconnection with who you really are. So at some point, something will also miss in the communication. So yes, the wholeness is really when we manage to get those two things together. And that's why, for example, when I was talking about the styling, it's really hard to say. And it is the same thing with business, it is really hard to tell someone like, oh, or to come and say what I had clients that was coming to me and were like, I love your style, can you just make me like you? And I was like, yeah, that's flattering, but you need to understand that style is like music, it's like poetry, it's art. You cannot
Mm.
copy this. It is a language that you have to use the way you want to use it, the way it describes you. So I can give you the same clothes, the same kind of things. You won't wear them as me just because you don't have my
Mm.
energy. And that's it. And it is the same thing with business, because with business, when I started getting deeper into these business things, I learned different strategies. I tried them, a lot of them. And then I understood that, okay, so we cannot be using the same strategies. Everybody can do that, right? Just giving the example of how you launch your business, for example. The way you
Mm.
launch your business is really aligned with the energy you have inside of you. So someone who is into a very masculine energy will manage to get those launched like this, right? Like on a more very masculine energy, pa 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 pa, going there. And when you come, and if you don't have that exact same masculine energy, you will see how at the end of the launch you will be so drawn up. Like you will be like, what happened to me? Like your energy got drained because it's not aligned with your
Mm.
energy. So even in business, the decision we make, the way we do our business, the way we everything is linked to that inner part, right? So we really, really have to understand, like, okay, so this is me. How am I inside there? And how can I communicate it the best? How can I take the decisions in my life, in my business, in everything, in alignment with who I am inside?
I just need to take you. I just want to put you on a rooftop so you can just yell that to everyone, because I could see so many people who need that help and need that guidance, and um, how much how much more powerful they would be in the world. How much um, and I talk a lot about shining your internal light. And as you're talking, I can see this light that people have inside of them. And this is what led me to Shine membership, and it's there and they know it's there, but giving it permission to shine, being comfortable with it shining, knowing that they can allow it to shine, knowing how they can shine it. And you're like, to me, you're I was going to say, you're that missing piece in terms of helping people really take that and put it out there in the world. And whether it's in a business or whether it's just allowing them to be themselves, because that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I really want to take this opportunity to tell to everyone to tell to everyone who is watching us right now that no matter what people already have out there, we still need you. Like it's really important
Mm.
to understand that we need each one of us. Like it's crazy. Nobody is going to cover the task that you have to do. We all have something, and I feel like every time as we are getting into that competitive environment, right, always trying to fit into boxes that are already there and totally ignoring who we are inside, and ignoring or forgetting to dive deeper to get that really essence of us out there, we are missing something, and people around are missing something. It's really important.
Mm. I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, one of the things you talked about, and I don't know if you and I talked about this on your site, it was identifying the ideal person. Your avatar tends to be a phrase for that. And again, I love how we're segueing into these, because it's very much a continuation of what you just said. And you talked about that it's you in the past. And I wonder if you would just expand upon that, because I think it's so important people recognize that what you teach is what you've learned.
Yes, exactly. So I this is one of the I would say one of the first thing that I noticed in the business industry, right? It was like, we often tend to think that your ideal person, your ideal avatar, whatever, your ideal customer is someone that you don't know. I like to say that it is someone you have to rediscover, because you know that person. That person is you when before you get the solution you uncovered for yourself. So that person is exactly at that point you were before. For some people is like 3 years ago, some people is 5 years ago, some people is 2 years ago, right? But what I want people to understand is really like the universe will never allow you to help someone if you don't know the path of the person. The universe will never because let me tell you, if I say, hey Marianne, I'm gonna take you on to a journey right now. You're gonna see it's gonna be very exciting. And you ask me, Kristiane, why are you taking me? And I'm like, well, I didn't think about that. I have no idea, but we will figure it. Will you follow me? Will you follow me? No,
I
because
might just because you're amazing and I know you, but
beside that, will
yeah.
you follow me? You will be like, even if you want, even if you like me, you will be like, okay, this sounds a little bit, you know what I mean? That's how it is. But if you cannot help someone on a path you don't know. So what happens is that life gets you through the path so that you can make your own experience. You can struggle, you can find you can overcome the challenges life and the universe wants you to overcome, so that you are ready and qualified to help the other person that is coming to that path. Because the 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 spiritual kind of mission that we all have is that we are going to turn our struggle into a transformation and get a solution, so that the person coming behind us will take less time to get where we were. That's how mission as humans, right? That's how we are supposed to helping the world, right? So
Yeah.
if if you're not working on your struggles today, it means that you miss to bring a solution that someone tomorrow will need. And
Yeah.
for me, I say that even if you're not conscious about that, it is a form of selfishness, because we are right now, I'm in France, you are in the US. We are right now able to do this live and have those wonderful people getting to listen to us, because someone has overcome his challenges and created this beautiful platform that we are using. So we are in this world using gifts of other people, right? Solution that other people come, discover for us. And we are struggling to create our own to participate. You see what I mean? Like
I
it's a
see exactly
form
what you
of
mean.
selfishness. So the
Yeah.
universe will not get you on the path, will not get you help someone on a path you don't know. That's why life gets you through a certain type of challenges, so that you can overcome your challenges, create a solution for people coming after you. So your ideal person would always be someone who is going through a challenge you have already overcome or are on the way. You might even be just one chapter ahead, right? It doesn't necessarily, this is another misconception. We think that, okay, to be able to help that person, I need to be this way. No, you need to be just one step ahead of that person. You
I
can,
love
because
that.
we are still
I'm
on the
gonna,
journey. It's going to be very hard
yeah.
to say that, yeah, you know why, guys, I'm done. No, this life is this journey, is a journey. We're all in a journey. So right now, I'm at step 2 of my journey. I'm able to help someone who is at step 1, where I was. And then by the time I figure out to get on step 3, I will be able to help step 2. And that's why it is also important to understand and accept that things move as we evolve. In business, in our lives, it is totally normal because of that.
Okay, so much I want to unpack about that. So first of all, I'm going to summarize that with how dare you keep yourself from the world. That's for everyone. And I just want to ask those listening. So this is it. It could be a rhetorical question because the answer should be obvious. But are you where? So how do I want to say this? Are you in a different place today than you were yesterday, last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago? So just put yes or no in the comments. And we're in Canada, by the way. And I was going to ask you where you are because you're kind of all over the
Yeah,
place,
you're
right?
in Canada
Yeah, and
right
you're in
now.
France right now.
Yeah, so right now I'm in France. I just moved in from I was in the US last year so I was in Brazil and then I moved to the US and then now I moved to France last year and now I'm moving again by the end of August. I will be in Southern Africa, so in Angola.
Wow.
So right now I'm in a transition phase, so moving for there. So Jenna
Awesome. Yeah,
said
because
yes.
yeah, so yeah, I was giving them a chance to answer. So yeah, so Jenna said yes. And so what I'd like to know, and again, you're playing with this, Jenna, so I'll ask you, but anyone else can jump in. What's the biggest noticeable difference from where you were to where you are? So what is the maybe one thing that you've learned about yourself or you've learned along the way? And I'll give her a chance to answer that. And just while she's doing that, I'll just share that so in my Shine membership program, every month we have a group guidance call. And I went into this very open, so I don't plan it. What I do is I basically channel it. So I'll pull some cards 2 or 3 days before. Sometimes it's an hour before. I just kind of whatever's going on in life, I let it be. And um, and that's the theme for that call. And then we run it through the month. So one of the themes that we had was a new version of you, and I actually recorded a meditation on that. And it was about, are you, Marianne 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, right? And so how we change and how we grow and what we learn, which I think is very nice and in keeping with what you were talking about. I'm going to pull the comment up. So I think that this is Twyla. Just let me know, Twyla, if this is your comment. You do have to allow StreamYard to show your name. There's a link in the post. If you click on it, it'll show your name. But I think this is Twyla. So I'm not in a different spot physically, but emotionally, I would say yes. Perfect. And I love that you're bringing that differential to this because it could be physical. It could be emotional. I mean, there's different aspects that will come up around that, correct, Kristiane?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, and this is, I'm just going to share something that is really, really personal. Okay. So this year, I noticed that I have my inner child is very hurt because I had a very difficult relationship with my dad. So that inner child is not healed. Okay, I still have to take. I'm healing kind of, but I still have to take care of her. And basically, this year I felt this deeper inside of me. I don't know why. Don't explain me
Mm.
why. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I just felt it. And what I understood by my intuition is that, okay, Kristiane, it's time to heal that child. It is time to heal that child. So as I was discussing with a friend, she told me about theta healing. I don't know if you all heard about that. She told me about theta healing. So theta healing is
Oh,
a healing.
theta, Theta, theta healing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah, yes.
So
Very
it is a
powerful.
yeah, exactly. It is a way. It is a healing method that use theta. How do you say that in English? I don't remember. I just got the definition in Portuguese, so it's kind of mixed every day. But it basically helps you heal those access the subconscious and heal those childhood trauma. So
Mm,
how would you explain that the same year that I'm feeling this deeper inside of me, I have this sign coming from a friend's mouth from the universe. I understood, because I know I have to add something in my learnings in my tools, right, to be able to help my people access their subconscious. In my program, I already talk about the subconscious brain and how it is powerful in the things. And I understood that, oh, well, this was the thing I was looking for. What am I going to learn is theta healing. So I'm going to start learning theta healing. Why? Because I know I'm
mm,
going to be able to heal myself. And once I'm done, I'll be able to heal someone else. So
mm,
this is not, it has nothing to do physically. You can see me, I'm laughing and but you don't know that maybe 1 hour ago, before this call, I was crying because that child in me was crying. So you don't know those things, right? Just to share with you and let you know that it doesn't have to be physical. It can also be emotional. And we tend to simplify the power of emotional healing, right?
mm.
But emotional healing is what unlocked everything out there, which again comes to the inner thing, right? The inner thing unlocks the outer thing. So
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, first of all. And, a lot of times what happens, and I know I've been guilty of this, is we think that the person that we're following or the person that we're learning from has it all together. There's no such thing as all together. I mean, as Christiane said, we're going through different stages and learning along the way. And I love that beautiful holistic approach to as we learn, we teach, because that's what all great teachers do, right? I mean, we learn and we teach. And so at every stage, in fact, I think this came up in one of my cards, or I think it was one of our membership group guidance calls. Every level has a new devil is one of the sayings. And so at every level, there's something else you need to see. There's something else you need to clear. There's something else you need to reconcile. And when
Exactly.
you get that and you embrace that and you just move with it and you allow it to be, that's when you start to transcend. There's really no other word that comes to mind for that.
Exactly.
I'm going to pop over to Jenna. Twyla had to go, so that was Twyla, and she did have to
Bye,
go.
Toila.
And I'm kind of sad that she had to go, but this will be on the replay. Jen, I'm going to come to you in a moment. This will be on the replay, and she'll watch it. And I just wanted to pull out because Twyla said, I'm in a different spot. I'm not in a different spot physically, but emotionally. So she's had emotional growth and physically isn't seeing that manifest yet. And so I was going to pull that out for her before she had to go. But what would you say about that with someone who's kind of like, yeah, I'm really feeling like I'm doing the work internally and not really seeing the external show up yet?
So the I think, I want to say that the way we define time is not the way the universe define time. So if it's not working, what I understand in my case, sharing just how I take it, okay? The way I take it myself is like, okay, so universe, I've been doing the task, you sent me. So what is missing? Because if the thing didn't happen externally yet, I guess that is because something I missed to do something. It's not the right time, or I don't have enough tool yet. I need to keep going. And that's the only
Yeah.
thing I can say. Keep going, because it means that maybe keep going and keep looking if you really did everything. Because sometimes we think that we did a thing the way we wanted to do it, but maybe it was not the right way of doing that special thing. So the universe will kind of get us stay in that step again for
Yeah.
another round, so that we make sure, and also listen to the signs, because that's what I do when I feel like I did everything and I still don't see the thing happening. I'm like, okay, tell me the signs, send me the info. So I try to channel a little bit deeper in me, journaling a little bit more, meditating, getting connected to be able to see the signs when they comes, because that's another thing. We receive the signs,
Mm,
and most of the time we don't really see them. So I would say keep doing it, and just make sure that you are getting all the signs.
yeah. I just put a little note in there to mark this time so when Twyla comes in, she can jump to that. And I would also add to that, in my way of thinking, just expand upon what you said. I'm just going to take this. Sorry, I got to scroll up. Where is it? There we go. Just taking that off there. And it's also, yeah. So I think I'm going to say the exact same thing you're going to say. I'm just going to say it slightly different. Is that because the external doesn't appear to be showing up, there's more internal work to be done. So to me, there's some kind of programming there that's blocking you from seeing it. So I think I'm relating to what you're saying, that time doesn't really exist. But we, in our world, we see time. And but it's because things are showing up and happening, but they're not showing up. You're not seeing them physically in your being because there's some underlying programming, there's some underlying emotional stuff that still needs to come up that you need to reconcile and be released. Does that fit in with what you're saying?
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Jenna, let's bring you up. So we asked how you're different today than you were before, that I can be who I always wanted to be. I had a traumatic experience which pushed me to pursue, and everything is going amazing. I was too scared to make the push on my own. Yay, Jenna.
Congratulations,
I
Jenna.
know.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So I would assume if you were working with someone like Jenna and they were kind of doing this passion, purpose focus, that this is where you might dig deeper and say, okay, what did you learn? What did you do? How did it move you forward? And in that, there's something in there that Jenna can bring to others, whether she does it as a business or not. But basically, taking that experience that she had and sharing that with more people so that she can help them more easily transition what she went through. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right.
Your trauma, how trauma are actually little, as like I like to take like a game, when you have cards that are covered like just on the, you have to open those cards so that you reveal the answer to everybody. That's it. So once you have done the work inside of you, that has been very good for you, for your life, you have, it is a duty. I know it sounds like when I say that.
How dare you keep yourself from the world? Coming back to that statement.
Yeah, I know that it sounds like, but yes, it is a duty for us to share what we have discovered. It won't speak to everyone, and that's perfect because we are not supposed to help everybody. Like, again, coming back to the perfect avatar for you is not necessary, everybody out there. So, but there is someone who is going through the exact same struggle who needs that. So, it is a duty for us to overcome our challenges and share the solution with others. So, no
Yeah.
matter the
Oh, that's
solution, what it is, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is, if it is a solution that made a difference in your life, it is a duty for you to share it.
And I feel like going back to what you said earlier, she will know when she is to share it. So it may be that someone comes to you for advice and you're like, wow, like I can answer this because I've gone through this. Or she
Exactly.
might see someone who's struggling and feel that urge to help and share her own experience, but her vulnerability gets in the way, or that, I'm not good enough, or who am I to share, that unworthiness that we all carry. And so, so I'm going to invite everyone watching this replay, really pay attention to those nudges, and please share them in the community and let us know when they come up, because that's how spirit speaks to you, and it doesn't that your spirit guides, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I just say spirit. It doesn't bang you over the head with the cosmic 2x4, although if you really need to get a message and you're not getting it, it will feel like that. But it's more of those gentle nudges, and it's really paying attention and responding to those when they come up.
Exactly. And I want to say that it is okay if we don't feel ready, because before, like, I, talking about myself, I'm not someone, I'm very good of in front office. I can have a conversation. I'm not an introvert at all. You can see. I guess you I guess you bet I bet you guess it, but I'm not an introvert, but I am an artist, right? I am a creative
Mm.
person who likes to stay in her bubble. So if it was just me, I wouldn't even be, out there, because I'm getting more fun when I'm behind doing my things in my bubble. Even in my home, people know that like to stay in my bubble. So
Mm.
I'm a hermit. And by the way, I want to say another thing that I want to say is that the way we are designed, oh my God. When I say that the universe is perfect, the perfect artist, there is nothing left behind. So I am a human design 5-2 profile. So I am a heretic hermit. So my heretic personality is to be here, being a public personality, speak with you, and na. But the other person of me is a hermit. I like to stay in my bubble. So
Mm.
if I just consider what I like, I will stay in the bubble. But because I have the consciousness about my mission, my duty as a human being, I have to step out. And it took me 2 years. Like, for example, I'm launching my YouTube channel this week on
Yay.
Wednesday. Yeah. But it took me 2 years. 2 years from the moment I created the channel to the moment I'm launching. Why? Because it is a hermit. I'm a hermit. And I feel like, lazy to go out there when I don't feel like I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I want to say that it is okay to take your time, but it is, I never push myself. Like, when I feel like, Kristiane, you don't want to do it, okay, but you have to do it, right? You have to do it. So take your time, get ready, but you have to go back and do it. So that's how I've
I
been with
so
myself.
relate. I so relate to that. And it's funny, I did some quiz somewhere. I don't remember what it was, and it came up that I was introvert. And I'm like, I'm not an introvert at all. Like complete extrovert. I wasn't always. So then I kind of looked at it and go, okay, I can see the introvert. At some point, I became what I would consider an extrovert, and I started to love being with people, in front of people, speaking, doing all of that. But I love my alone time. In fact, the hermit card is my card this year. So I pull a tarot, Major Arcana tarot card every year as part of my yearly intention. And that's my card. And I see that more in myself, where I'm wanting to retreat more and I'm wanting to be more in my space. But it doesn't take away that extrovert, aspect of my personality. There's a nice mix there, but I completely resonate with what you're saying. I'm going to bring Alma's comment on, and then I want to talk about your quiz, because that was so fascinating to me. So, and you can see it on the screen. I'd bring them up here. So Alma said, I'm in a better place emotionally and mentally, but not physically. And I just want to point out that that's exactly what Twyla said. And so we did talk about that. And I think that this is something that, is a bit of a pattern that a lot of people fall into, is that they are feeling like they're in, emotionally a better place, but there's something they're struggling with physically. Alma, maybe you could just clarify for us. Actually, I did send you the link to the Backstage Pass, Alma. So if you want to grab that at some point in the next, we're going to go probably a little over because we were a little late starting. But if you want to grab that, I'll bring you into the studio afterwards if you want to join us. And I just want to clarify around this, because I think for you physically is health. I think that's what you're relating to. Whereas Twyla, who I know very well, when she says physically, it's more for outside circumstances. So I love that we're getting this layering aspect of, how we feel we're transforming, but what is missing, air quotes.
And I think, I think that it is totally normal that a person starts feeling better internally before getting externally. Externally is just an expression of what is internal. So it can take some time, but it's going to go there. The only thing that I think is really important is to make sure you keep the same vibration. Because if you go low, then what you're expecting is going to go low. And that, I think, is the biggest challenge that we have, is that you do the thing internally, and then at some point, we, human nature, tend to go down and go up again and go down and go up again. So the biggest challenge here is, once you have done the inner work, try to keep the the vibration there, so that we don't go, because when we go down, it's just like when you're driving, right? And you're like, every time you're doing a stop to the gas station to take something, you're going to reach your destination a little bit later. That's it. But if you manage to go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm having an epiphany.
Go.
I had an aha moment. I did a little video. I called it a BFO. I had a BFO, blinding flash of the obvious. So it just, when you're talking, it's like it just came to me. And what came to me when you said that is the highs and lows, because my friend and I kind of started this journey at the same time, good 10, 12 years ago. And I was a big sponge. I just soaked it all in, and she was a lesser sponge, so she didn't soak it in quite as much. But one of the things she said was that the highs and the lows, and she doesn't feel those intense moments of joy, but she also doesn't feel, well, I don't know if she said this, but I realized this, I didn't feel those intense moments of sadness. So the intensity went, and she was kind of missing it, but I was looking at it going, I'm in this calmer space. And as you were talking, I thought, you know what? Because my vibration level came up and it never went back down to where it was. And so I was more at an equilibrium. And that's what I found to be so fascinating. And that's what I really prompted me to want to go out and teach it, is because it's such a calmer place to be. You don't have such big, deep, dark holes, that we go through in our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was excited to share that.
Absolutely. That's it. That's totally it. And I think it is like, I think we need to keep in mind, because the human body, we tend to be very impatient. So this is a human nature, right? And me too, I'm guilty of that too. I'm sometimes like, but I speak to myself. So just, if you want, you're not afraid to be a little bit crazy like me, because my daughter, laugh about me on that, because I can say something and then I talk to myself like, oh, Kristiane, come on, you're not saying this. Like, this is, that's not right. So I'm like two people in my head, and that's it. Yeah. So if you're not afraid to do that, make sure you get yourself back every time you see yourself going down. You say, you just call your name and say, you know what? That's not how it's supposed to be. Come up there. It's normal. It's going to take its time, and it is normal. So the transformation starts internally before being expressed outside. So I think
Mm,
it's normal that we start emotionally feeling good and then mentally and then physically and so on. So it doesn't start with the physical.
yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. So I know we're getting close to the 10:30, but like I said, we're going to go a little past because we're a little late pulling it together this morning. But I want to get into your I want to talk about your personal brand quiz, your brand style quiz. And I know you're doing some revamping of this and you're still working on it, but I just want to share my experience with it. So Kristiane had this personal brand style quiz, and I decided I'm going to go in and take this quiz. And I was a boho romantic. Now, I think you might have changed the
Yes.
terms and
That's
names of them,
no, no,
but that
that's
was
it.
very. Is that it? Okay, so that was very intriguing to me, and it definitely fit. And what I thought was interesting, and I just love the way you do this. So you take the personal and then the business, and it comes up with lots of things, the color schemes. I'm going to let Kristiane go into this, but I pulled my brand fonts and my brand colors from that quiz that I'm now using. And if you look at the top corner of the screen, I have this was my soul symbol that I did in 2021 when I did my vision board. And I loved it so much I kept it. And what was fascinating to me when I did that quiz is that a lot of the colors I was using were already there, but you had very distinct color numbers, which I then pulled out and I'm using in all my branding. And I love it. So it just was such a good fit for me. So I just wanted to give
Perfect.
that feedback and testimonial. So tell us about your brand style quiz.
Thank you. So right now I took it out. Unfortunately, you won't be able to access it. I replaced it with a new multi-passionate quiz to discover which personality you are.
Mm.
But I will bring back the brand quiz, right? I will bring it back, right? People, I will bring it back. But yes, the idea with the brand quiz was just like again, like I said at the beginning, right? I'm very interested into the wholeness of the person, making sure that we align the inner and the outer message. So I created profiles that I have encountered, right? I know how they're going to express in those things. So to give people some kind of help so that they know how to express a little bit better their energy through branding and styling. So that was the thing.
Yeah. So the multi-passionate quiz sounds fascinating. I haven't done that. I'm going to. And if you go
You
to
will have to.
Kristiane's website, is it so the quiz is that's a different quiz, right?
That is a different quiz to identify what type of multi-passionate people we are, and also according to your profile, understanding the good about you, understanding the
Mm.
villain about you. I mean, what you have to watch out for, and the challenges, right? You have. So it's about that, just to get that awareness, because I think that one of the hardest things when we are multi-passionate is acceptance.
Mm.
And I believe that we tend to ask to other people to accept us the way we are when we don't even accept ourselves. So I think the first
Yeah.
move is really embrace that thing. Like, I'm a multi-passionate person. That's how I am. That's who I am,
Yeah.
accepting it and understanding whether you are a soft multi-passionate, which is like a very low level. I mean, not low level, but like you are still very adapt you are still very you're not very totally crazy like people like me who are like the hula la, because we have two profiles. You have the soft multi-passionate, who is someone who is like, okay, she's multi-passionate, but she still managed to keep a certain focus there. Now you have the
Mm.
spicy multi-passionate. This is where it starts getting tense. And then you have the hula la multi-passionate, which is someone like me, where it's totally, totally, totally. So it is good to know who you are, where you are, so that but we won't struggle with the same things, right? We won't necessarily
Mm.
struggle with the same things, even if we are in this journey together. And I think the first way to get other people accept us is to understand better about ourselves and accept who we are, so that we know how to talk about ourselves to others. Because people will always say things you'd say about yourself. So if you say I'm crazy and you're like not assuming it, I mean, I'm crazy and I'm assuming it. So if you say Kristiane is crazy, I will be like, yeah, that's me. That's me. I recognize that, you know? So
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, once you know who you are, you are at the better position to accept yourself, and you are at the better position to teach other people how to take you and how to consider you.
Mm.
So that's it. So
So
the
it's not
motivation.
just about turning that into a business, but again, it's about tapping in, recognizing who you are, where you are in your journey, so that you can show up in the world in the best way that you're meant to show up in the world.
Exactly. And also, we don't necessarily, everybody is not going to, even though I do believe that all multi-passionate people are designed to be entrepreneurs. And
Mm.
I'm gonna shoot a video on YouTube about that, because we have many points that may just makes us, entrepreneurs. The first thing, one of the first thing that we all have, is that innovative way of thinking, seeing things. This is an entrepreneur skill, because
Mm.
entrepreneurs want to create solution that doesn't exist, that don't exist, right? They come from nowhere with an incredible idea. That's us. And all multi-passionate people have it.
Mm. Oh
So
my gosh, I love that.
yeah. So we have
Awesome.
different points that makes us natural entrepreneurs. So it's not, but still, I think not everybody is ready to get into that. And it's totally normal. Not
Yeah.
everybody has the same time, the same
Yeah.
pace,
Yeah,
you
and I
know?
always tell everyone, like, meet yourself where you are, take what fits, leave the rest. And that's why I like to bring, these lovely, beautiful individuals here to give you, to open up the door to something new that you can step through and you can explore on whatever level you want to explore that. So if you want to check out the multi-passionate quiz, they'll find that on your website, correct? Which is on a
Yes.
little ticker box, which is
Yes,
showing up.
but what I want to let you know that it is not total. The integration is not then
Ah,
complete yet. So I would say you can take it from Wednesday. You will have
okay.
everything
Well, I'll
together.
tell you what, you let me know when it's up and running, and then
Yes,
I'll share it in the group.
exactly.
And then when you do, if you bring the brand style quiz back at some point, just let me know and I'll share that in the group.
I will. I will.
And
But the,
and
the, the workshop is available. You can have the
well,
workshop
that's what I want to
on the
talk about
website.
now.
Yeah.
So before we do that, a quote that I pulled from your site. Your business is a way of fulfilling your purpose, and I just wanted to share that because I think that sums up what we're talking about, which is taking this deep desire within you and presenting it to the world. And whether you present it in business form or whether you present it just so that you have an easier time in life and you get to show up authentically as you are for who you are, which, as we said, basically wonderful things happen. It puts you in that zone of magic. So, whatever purpose you use it for, it's still going to illuminate your soul. Alma, I also wanted to let you know, in answer to your question, you can click on that link at any time. It'll just take you, I think, out of the Facebook Live into the studio. You'll see the broadcast, but I wasn't sure how that would work, and I didn't want you to lose us. So we are going to wind up. If you do want to pop into studio, just go click that link. And I want to talk about the All Passions to One Focus workshop. Now, same name because you were rebranding. Do I have the
I
name right?
rebranded it. I called it Combine Your Passions because it was
Okay.
shorter.
All right.
But
I'm
it's the
putting that
exact
right.
same thing. It's still
Okay.
bringing all your
Very good.
passions to one focus.
Find your passions. And I'm putting that in here right now. Tell us about Combine Your Passions workshop, please.
Yeah, so in this workshop, I teach my signature method, right? The one that I'm using in my program to help people understand, first of all, understand and make the difference between what is a hobby and what is a passion, because a true passion is not a hobby, right? It's not a hobby. So I get there. So we make sure that we first clarify everything. We identify what is a true passion and what is not, and then combine them, understanding how each passion is supposed to work together. Because I told you it was my challenge. And then when I understood that, oh, the mistakes that I was making and that everybody else was doing, asking me to pick the one thing, is because we often the time consider a passion with the title of that passion instead of the essence of the passion. So in that workshop, I explain how we should consider our passions and how each one of them are supposed to are connecting to each other, because there is no such a thing like you have different passions inside of your platform yourself and there is no link. The universe doesn't work like this. Like everything is, I told you, the best artist in the world in the in the universe, everything is there for a reason. And the day you understand how each one of those passions are working together, that's where you unlock your uniqueness, right? Your unique sweet spot. If you don't do that, you will get into the competition. And one of my first video that I share in the YouTube channel is I'm talking about that. I'm giving an example. Like imagine two people. One person is passionate about literature and finance, and the other person is passionate about writing and finance. The other person is passionate about writing and design. So if both of them decided to focus on writing, you have a marketplace, competitive marketplace, right? With two people offering writing services. But when both of them decide, if both of them decide instead of focusing just on writing, to combine their passions, right? Person one will come up with someone like copywriting, which is the how to write copy that sell. And the other person will come up with something like web design, the art of creating your website, because combining writing and design to create a beautiful website to express your business. So on the marketplace, this is a complementary market because a client coming there can use both services. So this is the power of combining your passions. When you combine your passions, you get to unlock a sweet spot that only you have in this world. Why? Because you are the only person who has the exact same set of passions, talent, interest, and strength. Nobody else has the same thing. I've been reading passions for, I did different talent platform that I call talent platform. And I saw that two people can be passionate about cinema, for example. And you have one person having cinema at the first position of this platform, and the second person having cinema, the ninth position of the platform is not the same effect. Not at all. So some of our passions are just tools. Like me with styling. I use style to express what I have to say. But my work is deeper, right? My work is deeper. So once you understand how you combine, how each one of your passion is working with the others, that's where you uncover your sweet spot. So the workshop is about that. I get you to clarify your passions. I get you to understand how they connect to each other so that you can have a platform that is kind of like streamlined, right? Simplified. Because it's much easier to combine something when you have just two pillars or three than when you have 10 or 12. So that's what we do in the workshop. I get you to the steps that I use in my program, and I show you how to clarify what question to ask yourself, how to know what is a passion, what is not, how to understand the essence of each one of your passions, and how to understand how they are supposed to work together. So that's what we do in the workshop.
Awesome. Sorry, I muted. We had a little background noise. As you noticed, my kitty cat was tiny. So I love the differentiating between hobby and passion, because I like that it's taking that distinction between the two and narrowing your passions. And I think that's what I found most useful with your workshop was, I had all these things going on. It was just such a nice way to get me to focus in. There's the focus word. And actually, it helped me focus my passions for some purpose. I mean, it's perfect. It's three perfect words. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. So the workshop is on your website. Is it an on-demand workshop? I think you've
yes,
turned
it
it
is
into
an
an
on-demand
on-demand
workshop. You can have access to it right now. If you go to my website, you're gonna see Combine Your Passion Workshop is right in the menu. You will get there and you can click the link and get it as soon as you want.
Awesome. And you're going to send me a link as well, and I'll share that with the community as well, correct?
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I think that's bringing us to time. Now, Alma, I don't know if you got the link and you want to pop in and say hello, but if you do, click on that and we'll bring you in. Sorry, I have a little bit of background noise here.
See us.
Yeah, so I'm just going to mute just for 1 second. Oh, no, I'll leave it on. We'll just hear a little background noise for a minute. And I'm just going to go into my comments. And okay, so as we wind this down, if Alma wants to jump in, she can, and if not, that's okay. We'll finish up. Okay, so I always ask, what is the one big piece of advice, kind of that last piece of advice that you would have for anybody listening who is just kind of struggling, combining that inner and outer and bringing that together. And I'm just going to mute so you will have the floor without any background.
Oh, don't worry. So I would say the first thing is really that find a way to connect to yourself, because everything is already there, right? We tend to think that the answers are out there, but no, everything is already inside, in there. And when we connect to that essence of us, we know the rest is kind of comes with the intuition, because you will be guided. It's just your inner just wants you to log in, right? The inner just wants you to connect, and then the rest is you're gonna be guided. I don't even know where I'm going myself, right? Like I'm just going one step at a time, and that's it. I know that I'm guided, so just do that. You connect. I would say the first really important thing is connection. When we don't have the connection, nothing else will work, because we need to connect to get that essence, that soul essence out there, right? So connection.
Yeah,
When
I love
yeah, whether you feel overwhelmed, that's what I do too. Whether you feel overwhelmed, whether you feel confused, whether you feel uncertain of things, and now you have doubts, you have challenges, go connect.
Yeah.
Ask for that source of yours some guidance. It knows the place.
Perfect. So, if anyone listening wants to add a final comment on what you enjoyed most about this interview, please do, as we just wrap things down here. And I'm just going to come back to that connecting, is like connecting is the opposite of ignoring, right? So don't push it down, don't ignore it. If something comes up, don't run away from it. Really connect to that part of you, whether it's a happy part or a sad part, and and communicate, right? So you're communicating with that aspect of you, which can be internal or external, and you're asking for some guidance and support on what you need to know or what you need to do next or how you can reconcile this or where this needs to take you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome. Okay, so thank you so very much. I'm glad we got this working. I feel like I could talk to you all morning, but I'm sure we both have some things to do today. And and Alma did try to click on the link. You didn't come into the studio, Alma. I don't
we
know
didn't see
why.
you.
No, I don't
We
see you
didn't see
there.
No,
So
I don't see her either.
I don't know if I've entered a studio other than a host, so I don't know, but you did. So when you clicked on it, did it just bring you into the studio,
Yeah.
Christine?
Mhm.
Yeah,
When I
okay.
clicked, okay, so you have some. Oh, so what I did is that I logged.
Oh, here she comes. I see her.
Okay,
Yep,
perfect.
she made it. Yep. There might be a delay too, because I think when you connected, you said I'm here, but I didn't see you, and then it
Okay.
connected.
Mm.
So Alma, I'm going to bring you in as we say our goodbye. So let me bring you in. And just to let everyone know who's not in membership, I am going to have a backstage pass option for you as well. I'm just working on it. So membership gets to, that's one of the perks of membership. You get a backstage pass. So hi, Alma.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. I had to click out of the actual live video because I was getting double and I couldn't figure out how to
That's what I
click
figured.
out.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I thought. So, so I wanted to invite you on, Alma, because you talked about the inner outer and feeling better emotionally, but not physically. And I did ask you on there if that was related to your health. Is that what you mean by physically?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so I think we talked about this, but Kristiane, again, we'll just like a brief discussion or recap on that because that's showing up. And well, I'll offer my take on it first, and then Kristiane, please feel free to jump in. But to me, what I see happening a lot is that when you go through this transformation and you are shifting emotionally, a lot of times physical stuff shows up. And I'm going through this with someone else in membership that is having a lot of physical problems. But she was wound up so tight for so long that everything I feel just got trapped in there. And then as she opened up emotionally and started to be more vulnerable, all these physical things started to happen in her body. And to me, you're loosening up and you're allowing that to come through to be released. Does that make sense to you as well, Kristiane?
Absolutely.
And does that make sense to you, Alma?
It does make sense.
Sorry,
The
Kristiane, you froze again.
part I don't understand is like it's my spine, and the X-rays show severe damage. And I met with a couple of doctors last week and physiotherapists, and they all said that nothing could be done to fix it except try to come up with a method of pain relief. I actually had to call 911 Thursday night because it was back to back intense spasms for like 2 hours that did not stop. And so I went,
Oh, I'm
they
so
took me to,
sorry.
yeah. And it's, so I do believe about the emotions getting trapped and all of that. But when your spine is actually, what the surgeon said, a nasty looking spine, I don't know how the emotions can help with that.
Yeah, and I think this is probably a little outside of what Kristiane's expertise, but if you have something to offer on this, Kristiane, please do. I'm gonna jump in with some
I'm not.
things as well.
This is not my specialty, right? I'm not a doctor at all. Just disclaimer: I'm not a doctor. What I understood in my readings and encounters and discussion about those kind of those things is that the physical body express something where we need to work on. So I would say I don't know who you should look for, but I think someone who understands the connection between emotions and part of the bodies where we have the pain will be able to help you understand what emotion you have to work in order to affect that part. Just sharing for me, for example, my case, I have a back in the pain, pain in the back sometimes. And for me, I get this pain maybe once a year. I have a very big crisis once a year or once every 18 months. And depending on how I work on those emotions, I manage to get it for 2 years without anything, right? And my problem is that I am an empath and I keep all the emotions for me. And what's happened is that it ends up hurting my physical body because I don't understand. I don't know how to. I tend to forget myself in working on those emotions to get out of me, right? So when I don't do that, you will see that within a year or a year and a half, I will start having this big crisis. I just got one. I don't know if I told you, but I just got one, and I have to work on that. I have to be intentional on, okay, I took the emotions, I have to get them out before I get sick again. So I would say I'm not an expert, but when I saw my osteopath when I was the first time I did it, he was the one telling me that it has nothing to do with your back. You have the pain there, but it has nothing to do with your back. It is your solar plexus. You have to release that place. It's this charge of too many emotions that you didn't release. So you have to work on that. So that's why yoga helps me. That's why working out helps me. That's why walking barefoot on the grass helped me. So those kind of things, right? I'm not an expert, but I think those people are able to identify the pain that you have according to where it is and identify the emotion that are related to that, the kind of
Yeah.
situation that I related to this.
Yeah,
So I
and
would
I
try to
yeah,
look.
and I think it will be multifaceted, Alma. So it's going to be multifaceted. And what I've seen often, and again, disclaimer, I'm not a medical doctor, and you're going to need that in your life. And so what happens is our body deteriorates as a result of whatever's been happening. And so, it's repairing that sometimes as well, because the body physically does deteriorate and things happen. And so, but that doesn't mean that you can't still use this approach to help manage the pain. I mean, regenerate things in the body. I mean, how many stories have we heard about people regenerating things that never should have been regenerated and bringing their health back, and whether or not it comes back 100%, even still coming back to a point where you're not in excruciating pain. So I think this is something that we will revisit in membership when we do our monthly calls and when we do our readings. Obviously that's a very big aspect for you. It's a very big concern for you. And I think, definitely invite you to bring that to membership so that we can bring more guidance and messages through. And as Kristiane said at the beginning, like really noticing the gentle nudges from the universe, because they're not necessarily going to be big things, but as you continue and ask for guidance and help on healing this and getting your body back to
And connecting.
wholeness.
I don't know what Alma is doing for connection, but I think on my case, what I noticed was that once I started getting deeply connected, I started seeing those signs I was not saying. So maybe you have the signs around you, but depending on how connected you are, you might see them or not. So again, we were talking about the connection, but it's really, really important, the connection part, because that's what gets you aware of those signs.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that helpful, Alma?
Yes, it is. Thank you. And I am working with an amazing psychotherapist.
Awesome.
It's sometimes really deep and really, really challenging to get through the session. But I'm hoping this, I'm on medications now. I have to move really, really slowly or it starts again. So I'm hoping that this is on its way out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to say,
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
if you will allow me, I just want to say to tell Alma that you don't hope.
That's what I was going to say as well. Yeah. So we want to
Don't
change the
hope.
wording around that.
No,
And
no,
yes.
no. Don't hope. Say that you're going through this. You're going to discover what, you're going to uncover a solution and you're going to share it. Make that
Yes.
promise to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because when I decided that I'm going to find a solution, like I don't even want, there is no plan B. It's plan A, I find it, plan B, I find it, plan C, I find it, I found it. So
Yeah.
don't hope. Go through
Yeah.
it, uncover it.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
One of my spiritual, gurus, she doesn't like to be called that, but the people that I follow, she shared this really good phrase, and I think it's such a good shifting phrase. And it's, up until now, I thought I couldn't get better. So it's that shifting point to get you out of that thinking of, there isn't a solution, or up until now I didn't think there was a solution, or up until now I had back pain, and it shifts you into that thinking of, I'm enjoying less back pain, or I'm loving seeing that solutions are coming to me, which would be more of an
Yes.
affirmation, but sometimes you need that shifting point.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, we went way over time, but it was well worth it. So, Kristiane, thank you so much. Alma, I'm so glad you got a chance to pop in. I will share some links when we're done for everyone. I'm going to put the outro on so it will say goodbye while I end the broadcast. Don't go away, Kristiane, because I am going to come back and just we'll do our own goodbye. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure.
Bye, guys. Bye.
And I need to figure out how to do this. So I'm going to take us out of studio for a second, and then
No
don't go away
problem.
though. I'm going to bring you back in just a moment.